Tami Sepeda, and I teach grades kindergarten, first, and second at Echo Ridge Christian School in Nevada City.
And my name is Sara Griesert, and I teach grades 3, 4, and 5 at Echo Ridge Christian School.
And I'm going to read I'm thankful each day. I'm thankful each day for the blessings I see and for all the gifts that are given to me. And counting the stars at the edge of the sea, I can't help but feel they were put there for me. I'm thankful for summer and warm golden days. I'm thankful for autumns of orange pumpkin haze. Thank you for meadows and light-colored flowers. I'm thankful for raindrops and soft summer showers. Each sunset is special. Each sunrise is new. Each breeze in the trees is a promise come true. Each evening's a wonder where beauty abounds. Each morning's a harvest of new sights and sounds, and it's nice to know the blossoms of spring are beginning to grow. I'm thankful for friends, for laughing and sharing. I'm thankful for family, for loving and caring. I'm thankful for all the kindness I see. I'm thankful for peace and for pure harmony. My body is a present of perfect design. My mind is a power as endless as time. And if I ever worry that trouble is near, I always remember there is nothing to fear. For each hour is laden with infinite love. Each second brings confidence. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name's Evan. I'm in a regional memorabilia, Bravo memorabilia. Now, it was the day of the school concert. Mrs. Rogers was very upset. Where is Amelia? I sent her to the station 2 hours ago to pick up our new conductor. The orchestra is waiting to practice. And yes, said Amelia, I'm back. Where is the conductor? Said Mrs. Rogers. I told you to pick up the conductor. I tried my best, said Amelia, but he was too big for me to pick up. A large man in a blue uniform followed Amelia into the gym. Oh no, said Mrs. Rogers. This man isn't the conductor. He sure is, said Amelia. Look at his uniform. I did not mean to train conductors, said Mrs. Rogers. I meant a musical conductor. He is very musical, said Amelia. He whistled all the way over here. Just then a man in a nice black suit jogged into the gym and I am sorry, I am so late. He said no one met me at the station. No real conductor, said Mrs. Rogers. Thank goodness you are here. Look, lady, said the other conductor. I like music, but I've got a train to catch. Catch a train, said Amelia. Thank you.
For listening to me read.
Thank you for listening to me read.
Hello, this is Casey. I am reading I Love You Forever. A mother held her new baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she held him, she sang, I love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The baby grew, he grew and grew and grew, until he was 2 years old. And he ran all around the house, he pulled all the books off the shelves, he pulled all the food out of the refrigerator, and he took his mother's watch and flushed it down the toilet. Sometimes his mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. But at night time, when the 2-year-old was quiet, she opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, looked up over the side of the bed. And if he was really asleep, she picked him up and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. While she rocked him, she sang, I love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. The little boy grew, he grew and grew and grew. He grew until he was 9 years old. And he never wanted to come in for dinner and never wanted to take a bath. And when Grandma visited, he always said bad words. Sometimes his mother wanted to sell him to a zoo. But at night time, when he was asleep, the mother quietly opened the door. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Brian and I'll be reading Prince Catherine. Once there was 4 children whose names are Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy, and their husband told in another book called The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe how they came to a remarkable adventure. They had opened the door of a magic world and found themselves in a quite different world from ours, and in that different world they became kings and queens in a country called Narnia. While they were in Narnia, they seemed to reign for years and years, but when they came back through the door, they found themselves in England again. It all seemed to have taken no time at all. At any rate, no one noticed that they had ever been away, and they never told anyone except one very wise grown-up. That had all happened a year ago, and now all 4 children were sitting on a seat on a railroad station with trunks and play boxes piled up around them. They were, in fact, on their way back to school. They had traveled together as far as the station, which was a junction. And here for a few minutes, one train would arrive and take the girls back away to one school. In about half an hour, another train would arrive and take the boys off to another school. The first part of the journey, when they were all together, always seemed to be part of the holidays. But now, when they would be saying goodbye and going different ways, everything felt their time feelings beginning again. And they were all rather gloomy, and no one could think of anything to say. Lucy was going to boarding school for the first time. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Wyatt, and I'll be reading Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. We were all sitting around the kitchen table. It was Saturday morning, pancake morning. Mom was squeezing oranges for juice, Henry and I were betting on how many pancakes we could each eat, and Grandpa was doing the flipping. Seconds later, something flew through the air and headed towards the kitchen ceiling and landed right on Henry. After we realized that the flying object was only a pancake, we all laughed, even Grandpa. Breakfast continued quite uneventfully. All of the pancakes landed in the pan, and all of them were eaten, even the one that landed on Henry. That night, touched off by the pancake incident at breakfast, Grandpa told us the best tall-tale bedtime story he'd ever told. Across an ocean, over lots of huge bumpy mountains, across 3 hot deserts and 1 smaller ocean, there lay a tiny town of Chew and Swallow. In most ways, it was much like any other tiny town. It had a main street lined with stores, houses with trees and gardens around them, a schoolhouse, about 300 people, and some assorted dogs and cats. But there was no food stores in the town of Chew and Swallow. They didn't need any. The sky supplied all the food they could possibly want. The only thing that was really different about Chew and Swallow was its weather. It came 3 times a day, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything that everyone ate came from the sky. Whatever the weather served, that was what they ate. But it never rained rain, it never snowed snow, and it never blew just wind. It rained things like soup and juice. It snowed mashed potatoes and green peas, and sometimes the wind blew in a storm of hamburgers. Thank you for listening to me read Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Hi, my name is Josh, and I will be reading Frog and Toad All Year. Ice cream. One hot summer day, Frog and Toad sat by the pond. I wish we had some sweet, cold ice cream, said Frog. What a good idea, said Frog. Toad, wait right here, Frog. I will be back soon. Toad went to the store. He bought 2 big ice cream cones. Toad licked one of the cones. Frog likes chocolate best, said Toad, and so do I. Toad walked along the path. A large, soft drop of chocolate ice cream slipped down his arm. This ice cream is melting in the sun, said Toad. Toad walked faster. Many drops of the melting ice cream flew through the air. They flew down on Toad's head. I must hurry back to Frog, he cried. More and more of the ice cream was melting. It dropped down on Toad's jacket and splattered on his pants and one on his feet. Where is the path? Cried Toad, I can't see. Frog sat by the pond, waiting for Toad, and a mouse ran by. I just saw something awful, cried the mouse. It was big and brown, some covered with sticky and leaves moving this way. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Jaden, and
I'm a kindergartner.
I am a kindergartner.
I'm going to read.
I'm going to read Mittens.
Okay, go ahead.
Mittens is a pet. Mittens is a dog. Mittens runs and runs. Mittens Pigs, mittens, stands, up, and spins. Mittens,
Runs. Hold it tight. Hold it.
runs, and stops. Mittens,
Sound it out, girl.
tugs at Peg. Peg must get mittens. Peg
Good job. Did
not stop. Peg runs.
Turn a page.
Mittens sits on the steps.
Good job.
Mittens is sad. Mittens sits.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for me to read. I'm reading Wake Up Sun. One night in the middle of the night, a fly bit dog on his ear. Dog woke up. Woof, woof, said dog. It must be time to wake it up. Pig woke up too. Wink, wink, said Pig. Be quiet. Be quiet. It is time to get up, said dog. No, it is not, said Pig. The sun is not up. Where can the sun be? Asked dog. Maybe it fell in the well, said Pig. and Pig ran to the well. Son, said Pig, are you down there? Cow woke up. Moo, moo, said Cow. Eat that. What?
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me read.
Good job.
Hi, my name is Teddy Staten, and I will be reading The Giving Tree. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come, and he would gather her leaves and make them into rounds and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And they would play hide and go seek. And when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. One day the boy came to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and eat apples and play in my shade and be happy." "I'm too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things. I want to have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?" "I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I only have leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you will be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy and said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and be happy." "I'm too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm," he said. "I want a wife. I want children. So I need a house. Can you give me a house?" "I have no house," said the tree. "My forest is my house. But you can cut off my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy." And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build a house. And the tree was happy. But a long time the boy stayed away, for a long time. And when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered, "come and play." Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Ethan. I'll be reading Frog and Toad together. Frog and Toad were reading a book together. "These people in this book are brave," said Toad. "They fight dragons and giants, and they are never afraid. I wonder if we are brave," said Frog. Frog and Toad looked into the mirror. "We look brave," said Frog. "Yes, but are we?" asked Toad. Frog and Toad went outside. "We can try to climb this mountain," said Frog. "That should tell us if we are brave." Frog went leaping over rocks, and Toad came puffing up behind him. They came to a dark cave. A big snake came out of the cave. "Hello, lunch," said the snake. When he saw Frog and Toad, he opened his mouth wide. Frog and Toad jumped away. Toad was shaking. "I'm not afraid," he cried. They climbed higher, and they heard a loud noise. Many large stones were rolling down the mountain. "It's an avalanche," cried Toad. Frog and Toad jumped away. Frog was trembling. "I'm not afraid," he shouted. They came to the top of a mountain. The shadow of a hawk fell over them. Frog and Toad jumped under a rock. The hawk flew away. "We aren't afraid," screamed Frog and Toad. At the same time, they ran down the mountain very fast. They ran past the place where they saw the avalanche. They ran past the place where they saw the snake. They ran all the way to Toad's house. "Frog, I'm glad to have a brave friend like you," said Toad. He jumped into bed and pulled the covers over his head. "And I am happy to know a brave person like you, Toad," said Frog. He jumped in the closet and shut the door. Toad stayed in bed and Frog stayed in the closet. They stayed there for a long time, just feeling very brave together. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hello, my name is Gracie and I'm going to read Strangers Leave Footprints. 12-year-old Robert Cunningham sat by the kitchen window watching a snowstorm raging outside. The winter in central Ohio in the 1930s had been filled with raging snowstorms and freezing temperatures. Robert noticed the tall statue of a man in a gray work coat almost obscured by the blowing snow, plodding down the slippery road. The wind hissed with ice crystals. Robert could see that the man was a hobo, a homeless stowaway, one of the many thousands who traveled on noisy, cold freight trains and spent their days searching for work, food, and warmth. The stranger cautiously approached the back porch of the Cunningham farmhouse. Robert called to his mother. "I think there's another hobo coming. Are we going to feed this one too?" "Of course we will," she whispered kindly as she approached the window. "He's probably starving." She cleared her throat as the knock sounded on the back door. "Yes," Mrs. Cunningham began. "Ma'am," he says, "I've been looking hard all day trying to find some work, but there just wasn't anything out there for me. I'm awfully hungry." He paused for a moment. "Could you maybe give me something to eat?" "Why, certainly," she assured the stranger. She never turned anyone away. "Come in on the porch and have a seat. I'll warm up some food." Inside the enclosed porch, the tired man put down his heavy wooden tool chest and took his seat. While his mother was in the kitchen, Robert stood inside the doorway, shyly but carefully studying the face of the tall man. Question whirled in his mind. Who is this guy? He seems so good-mannered, and he speaks kindly. Why hasn't he found a job? Where will he go now? The man's blue work overalls and coat looked threadbare and scruffy, but surprisingly clean. Breaking the silence, Mrs. Cunningham called to her son. "Robert, will you come help me?" "Yes, ma'am," he responded. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name is Tasha, and I will be reading The Legend of Three Trees. Life burst into the world on the third day of creation. From under the water, God brought forth the earth. Peeking up through the earth's soil, green plants waved like millions of tiny flags. Grasses, bushes, and trees grew into every size and shape. The trees towered above all. There were pine trees and poplar, olive and oak, willow and walnut. Each held its own seeds and fruits. Their seeds and fruits scattered as the animals carried them from the trees. In a valley, a fox dropped an olive pit, and along a rocky shore, a stork split open an acorn. On a tall mountain, a goat accidentally shook loose a seed from a pine cone. The pit, the acorn, and the seed grew into saplings. Watered by the rain and warmed by the sun, they reached upward. In time, a beautiful olive tree blossomed in the valley. A mighty oak stood on a rocky coast, and a tall pine tree stood on the mountain. As each tree grew, it dreamed of what it would become. The olive tree dreamed of becoming a beautiful and important treasure chest. Decorated with sparkling jewels, it would hold the greatest treasure in the world. One day, a woodsman came to the forest. It seemed that the olive tree's dream would come true. The woodsman chose the olive tree from all the other trees. The olive tree trembled with happiness. At last it would become a beautiful treasure chest. The woodsman took the olive tree to his workshop. He cut the wood into boards and hammered them into a box shape. But to the tree's surprise, the woodsman did not make the box into a treasure chest. He did not polish the olive tree's fine wood or fill the box with gold. Instead, he dragged the box into a stable with messy sheep, smelly cows, and noisy chickens. The woodsman filled the box with hay. The olive tree saw that it had become a manger, a mere feeding box for animals. It knew then that it would never hold a treasure. Thank you for listening to me read. Hi, my name is Sydney, and I'll be reading Cities of the Plain. Abram was a strong and wise man. Even the heathen who lived all around them looked up to him. And because of everything Abram had done for him and all that he meant to him, Lot probably thought of Abram as more of a father than an uncle. In those days, even grown men treated their fathers with great respect. The oldest grandpa in the family was called the patriarch, and even his grown sons obeyed him. Lot should have been thinking about all these things during this most critical moment of his life, but he wasn't. Instead, his mind raced forward as his eyes roved over the lush green hills gleaming in the distance. I feel we must separate, Lot. Abram's kind and courteous voice broke into the younger man's thoughts. Which part of the valley would you like, Uncle? In his heart, Lot knew that Abram should have first choice. After all, God had given the entire country to his uncle. Abram spread one arm toward the east and one toward the west, making a human compass with his body. You decide, Lot, he said in his usual gracious, courteous way. Lot stared at his uncle in shocked amazement. Could it really be true? Was Uncle Abram really letting him, the younger and less established of the two, have first pick of the property spread out below them? If so, this was a financial opportunity of a lifetime. There was money to be made in those hills. You see, nestled in the valleys, surrounded by the rich green grass and bubbling springs so beautiful that the land was compared to the Garden of Eden, were the thriving cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot knew about these cities of the plain, so did Abram, but both men had been there, stayed there, and done business with the men of those cities. Abram and Lot were also both well aware of one very clear fact. Though the cities were very rich, they were also very wicked. In fact, they were so wicked, they had actually become famous for being so evil. In all his travels, Abram had always taken care to protect his family from the wicked world surrounding them. Knowing that he had been called to leave his family to better serve God, Abram had tried to protect those in the camp from the terrible... Thank you for listening to me read.
Hello, my name is Jimmy and I'm reading Benny the Beaver. Beavers sleep a lot and do not eat much in the winter. This was a good thing for Benny because the stick he found was the last one. It was also good. The spring had come. Weather was dripping through the lodge roof on his head. A day later, he noticed that the level of the winter in the passageway was rising. He dived down and swam where the stream entered the pond. Sure enough, the ice had broken and the scramble out waddle about stood nearly in swimming.
Put your hands down.
Swimming he would not have eaten, but now he could it down with his sharp teeth and chewed the prickly bark and branches. The other beavers were still sleeping when Benny came back to where the glad branches he broke back to eat. Next event, his father noticed that the water level had far down in the passageway. He looked down, started muttering something. He dived down and shipping. Benny followed and he saw what had happened. Flooding waters had pushed of it. The dam must have been fixed right away or all the water would run out of the pond and level the lodge opening. Of course, the coyotes, bobcats, and other enemies could get in quickly, Benny swam back and called out the other beavers to come help fix the dam. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hello, my name is Zachary Higley, and I'm going to read Frog and Toad Are Friends. One day in the summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad said, "Frog, you are looking quite green." "But I always look green," said Frog. "I am a frog. Today you look very green, even for a frog," said Toad. "Get into my bed and rest." Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea. Frog drank the tea, and then he said, "Tell me a story while I am resting." "All right," said Toad. "Let me think of a story to tell you." Toad thought and thought, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. "I will go out on the front porch and walk up and down," said Toad. "Perhaps that will help me to think of a story." Toad walked up and down on the porch for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. "Why are you standing on your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad stood on his head for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad poured a glass of water over his head. "Why are you pouring a glass of water over your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I pour water over my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad poured many glasses of water over his head, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. "Why are you banging your head against the wall?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. "I am feeling much better now, Toad," said Frog. "I do not need a story anymore." "Then you get out of bed and let me into it," said Toad, "because now I feel terrible." Frog said, "What, would you like me to tell you a story, Toad?" "Yes," said Toad, "if you know one." "Once upon a time," said Frog, "there was two good friends, a frog and a toad. The frog was not feeling well. He asked his friend the toad to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name is David Crystal. I'm going to read Frog and Toad Are Friends. Toad was sitting on the front porch. Frog came along and said, What's the matter, Toad? You are looking sad." "Yes," said Toad. "This is my sad day of it is time when I wait for the mail to come. It always makes me very unhappy." "Why is that?" asked Frog. "Because I never get any mail," said Toad. "Not ever?" asked Frog. "No, never," said Toad. "No one has ever sent me a letter. Every day my mailbox is empty. That is why I'm waiting for the mail. It is a sad time for me." Frog and Toad sat on the porch, feeling sad together. Then Frog said, "I have to go home now. Toad, there is something I must do." Frog hurried home. He found a pencil and a piece of paper. He wrote on the paper. He put the paper in the envelope. On the envelope, he wrote, "A letter for Frog." Frog ran out of his house. He saw a snail that he knew. "Snail," said Frog, "please take this letter to Toad's house and put it in his mailbox." "Sure," said the snail, "right away." Then Frog ran back to Toad's house. Toad was in bed, taking a nap. Toad, said Frog, "I think you should get up and wait for the mail some more." Thank you for listening to me reading.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Lopez, and I'm reading Robert and the Great Pepperoni, the Fake Ice Cream. Miss Bernthal asked everyone in room 204 to bring something to share with the class that had to do with rock climbing. Charlie, Robert's brother, had told Robert to take a hanky in case he had a nosebleed. Robert knew that Charlie liked to tease him, so he didn't listen. Instead, he brought a book with lots of pictures of rocks and minerals. Paul brought a plastic bag and markers. Rock climbing used these for collecting experiments, he said. What experiments? Said Matt Barkley. It's a climbing wall, not real rocks. Yes, Matt, that's true, said Miss Bernthal, but there's nothing wrong with pretending. Thank you, Paul. Susan Lee brought several foods. Astronomers eat things like kind of food too. She expanded. It doesn't weigh much or take up much room, so it's good for long trips in places where you might not find food. She opened a silver-colored pouch. This is strawberry ice cream, she said, showing the class. Inside the pouch there were dry brown cubes. They didn't look anything like strawberry ice cream. Susan Lee broke up the cubes into tiny pieces so everyone could have a taste. Robert made a face as he touched his sample with the tip of his tongue. It tastes good. He licked it again. Really, it didn't taste like strawberry ice cream. He put the rest of the sample in his mouth and ate it. Maybe a pocket of those ice cubes would be to take along on the rock climbing trip. Thank you for listening to me read.
What do you love?
Reading!
And where do you go to school?
Echo Ridge Christian School!
Who's in kindergarten?
I am.
Who's in first grade?
I am.
Who's in second grade?
I am.
Who's in third grade?
I am.
Who's in fourth grade?
I am.
And who's in fifth grade?
I am.
And who are the teachers?
We are.
Hip hip hooray!
Hip hooray!
Yay!
She